Vanakkam, Namaskara, Namaskaram. Hello viewers, we are so glad to announce that our Vidyaparampara channel have reached over 1K subscribers all over the world who follow, learn to chant shlokas and pass on our releases about our ancient Hindu Sanatana Dharma principles of chanting shlokas via various social media platforms. We are so grateful to all the viewers and we wish you continue to learn and share the legacy of knowledge. Thank you. Today we have a special interview on why we have to learn to chant shlokas. Here we have Dr. Girija Krishnan Garu, a reputed pediatrician from Hyderabad and also expert on parenting. Hope this session helps all the parents of young children and also everyone. Let's start our interview. Welcome to the channel, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, could you please share your views on chanting shlokas? How is it beneficial to the children?
I have actually been a part of Varsha's activities for the last 20 years. And I have always found it very interesting. And what she's doing here today through this channel and also what she's been doing with children is very interesting. She's actually going out of the way what our normal schools have not been able to provide. She's doing it through her channel as well as through her classes that she's conducting online. So there are several children and several young mothers, young families who are involved in this and are benefiting. So now I would like to tell you the importance of chanting shlokas. See, shlokas, we always say it is in Sanskrit. Most of it is in Sanskrit. Of course, there are shlokas in other languages also. And there is a benefit in this. We all have to understand, see, the brain and mind are two different things. We, in common language, we are always saying the brain and mind use these two words as synonyms. But we have to understand that brain is a physical organ for which we give adequate food, nutrition in various forms. We give vitamins, this kind of food, that kind of food, and the brain grows. And the brain grows, maximum growth of the brain, physically the size is up to the age of 2 years. But there is something called the mind about which we don't talk at all. And what is the food for the mind? Have we ever thought of what is the food for the mind and how does a person turn out to be a good human being or a person turn out to be a bad human being? The food for the mind comes from these shlokas. These chanting of shlokas, chanting of mantras, chanting or listening to stories from our scriptures and building up our samskaras. So all this is the food for the mind. So now here I would like to give in detail as to, see, when we chant a shloka, first of all, we are getting regular habits, we are doing it with some kind of spiritual, considering it to be a spiritual activity, and those things are there. Apart from that, the vibrations that are produced by chanting these Sanskrit words, see, we have to now understand that when we say any word, there are certain vibrations that come out and they all have an impact on our brain. See, suppose you say scorpion or snake or say tsunami. See, even though we are in a very protected environment at this moment, but that induces a certain kind of a reaction in your brain. So, similarly, these words, these shlokas, these Sanskrit words, the way we chant them, they produce certain vibrations in the atmosphere and they impact us in our body and mind, and that leads to a positivity. It brings out all the positivity within us and that helps us to grow in every way. So this is the first food for the mind that we are giving. Most of us don't consider it at all. All the time we are only thinking of how food means it is only nutrition, what goes through the mouth. But food is actually what goes through your eyes, nose, ears, all that is food. None of us think about it in that angle. So this very important aspect of food for the mind is chanting of shlokas and listening to stories from our scriptures, which help us to become positive, bring out the positive energy from our body, and if it becomes a regular habit, nothing like it. Probably that's the best thing that we can do for a child. And I'm extremely happy that young parents have understood this and are sending their children and themselves also taking part in this and learning. So this is like building up the future of our nation, I would say.
Absolutely true, madam. Very well explained too. Madam, could you please explain what happens when we chant slokas and how the energy in the body is generated? Could you please explain, ma'am?
See, all these words, the most important part of chanting a Sanskrit shloka is it has to be pronounced correctly. The pronunciation is the most important. And mostly in our Vedic chants and all, there is a tune to it which is very, very important. So that is why they say the Vedic chants should not be taught like shlokas. So shlokas and mantras that we learn, we must learn to say the words correctly in Sanskrit with the correct pronunciation. Because those vibrations are very, very important. And those vibrations, when we absorb those vibrations, the positivity within us comes out. And that is the way in which, when you look at a person, you say it builds an aura around us. So that when you look at a person, you say he's a good person. We look at another person without even knowing who they are. We keep away from some people. Why is it? It is the aura of positivity that we are building around us. And when we say, oh, it's a very sattvic individual. What's the meaning of that? How does it happen? So his chanting of that many mantras or shlokas or whatever has created that aura of positivity around him, which even from a distance, even without knowing the individual, you are able to make out that this is a positive individual and this is a different kind of a person. So that's the effect of chanting mantras and shlokas.
Ma'am, could you please tell us about the memorizing a sloka? And why is it important? And is it possible to memorize a shloka to everyone?
Everybody can memorize shlokas. See, but we should not take it that if you don't memorize, something is wrong with you. It is not that. But for a child, if they get into the habit of memorizing, that will help them in every field. See, even in their education system, that will come in as a useful thing. So it will become a habit that is created and it will help them. So that way, if we concentrate and we are able to memorize, first of all, see, if you concentrate your mind to memorize a particular shloka, that concentration becomes a habit. So when you study, your concentration improves. So what we need to understand here is, see, I have followed up children from Veda Patashalas. There is a beautiful Veda Patashala here which I go to regularly. So what we have understood from that is those children who are learning the Veda mantras and who are reciting them, that is only by rote. They don't read from book, they learn it by heart. So those children are so sharp that at the end of the day, they are able to do maths or other subjects in a jiffy. Their intelligence or whatever is brought out in such a way that normal education is just cakewalk for them. It's not difficult at all. If they do 10 years of Veda, 10th class, all of them are getting wonderful marks. They spend very little time on the routine academics, but they are doing extremely well in that. So this is an indicator saying that our mantras have that ability to make your mind sharper and give you the ability to concentrate.
So by chanting shlokas, what I understood is it will improve the attention and concentration of the child, and indirectly it is helping the child to achieve in academics as well.
Exactly.
So it's a wonderful thing, and every parent should encourage their children to chant shlokas. Madam, I have one question, madam. So through vidyaparampara channel, even I have learned many shlokas online through listening to the videos. But sometimes I memorize, and sometimes I forget after learning the shloka. Is that okay if I forget the meaning of the shloka?
See, as adults, see, memory is something, our brain is filled with lot of information. So as we grow in age, it is filled with so much of muck in it, there is less space for what you want to memorize. But as a child, your brain is still not filled up with all the rubbish of the world. So they are able to memorize faster than us. If by concentration and meditation, I am able to remove all those silly, useless information in my brain, I will also be able to memorize. So we have to work on it. If I want to memorize, I have to get rid of certain, like in a home, we have to get rid of things when we get new things. Similarly, we have to empty our brain of some rubbish. Then there will be space for us to, keep new shlokas in our mind. So we have to work on it. And see, by reciting all these shlokas, of course, I don't know whether I should go into chakras and all. So they are supposed to, nadis and chakras, everything gets energized. So, and it helps us to grow in every way. So I would like to make a point that, see, spirituality has nothing to do with religion. Spirituality is just that you accept that there is something above us. So that aspect, if is there in every family, that will help the child to grow very well. So if you want to have a child to become a good human being, it is very important that there should be a little spiritual atmosphere in the house and a positive atmosphere in the house, which, see, if you fill the child's brain with all the positive inputs, then when they become a teenager, you don't have to worry that he will go astray. Because we have created all the good habits, good samskaras, we have put all the good thoughts into his head. So we can confidently allow him to leave home and not be worried, oh, my child might go astray, my child might become this or that. So our role is, in the first few years of life, if we are able to fill the child's mind with positive inputs, we should be able to have a confident adolescence. Just a small message to parents. See, our Upanishads have said, Matra Devo Bhava and Pitra Devo Bhava. See, and this is not said before you became a parent. Only the moment you became a parent, this statement is applied to you. So which means you also have a great responsibility. When it is expected out of you, it is very important that, you also do something to live up to that. So it is the responsibility of every parent to become a role model for their own child. It is already explained and expected out of you in our Upanishads. So we belong to such a rich culture which gives so much of importance to us. So let's all try our best to create a good impression on our children. And see, if we all work together, I am sure the next generation of children we will have a good set of noble children in our country. Maybe there'll be a lot of changes. We may go back to good old days.
Yes. Madam, could you please tell us some tips to the young parents how to set up some boundaries in the house to have a positive parenthood and a positive child's journey?
See, if parents have regular habits, if they have a prayer room, they have a prayer session every day, whichever religion it is, it doesn't matter. But most important is that all of us should, from the beginning, build up that respect for that there is something beyond this world and this life. So if the child is able to understand that there is a God above, you call it by whichever name that suits you. That is not the important thing. But once the child is able to understand and start relating to that, then we have won half the battle. So most of the time, if we create that atmosphere of spirituality in the house by everyday morning lighting the lamp or saying a few shlokas in front of your child, as he grows up, he will also do that. It becomes a part of his lifestyle. So then if we are, see, whatever we do at home, it is only within the home that you can build the character of an individual. Afterwards, when adolescence comes, and at that time it is not right for us to blame the world, to blame the school, blame the teachers, blame the society, blame the TV programs, blame the pubs, blame the government. That's not what we should do. We should create and then blame the peer pressure. That is one wonderful thing nowadays I hear. Peer pressure, madam, that's why my son is doing this. He is actually a good boy. So I always tell parents that think about it in a different way. Make your son so strong that he is that positive peer pressure who is able to convert 10 other children, prevent them from doing anything wrong. That should be our goal. That I make my son so strong that he is able to convert 10 other children and prevent them from doing anything wrong. If I succeed in that, I think I have achieved everything in this world. So that should be my goal at the end of the day. Thank you very much.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your valuable time and sharing your knowledge to all of us, madam. We are so grateful to you.
Thank you.
Namaskara.
I wish Vidyaparampara all the best, and they must do a good job.